Happy Monday. Made it to another Monday. It's a good day today. I got to tell you guys, I've really been looking forward to Mondays since I started doing these like I used to look forward to Fridays. So thanks for watching and playing along with me. Today, I had a recommendation from my beautiful, very intelligent niece, Juliana, to do flowers, roses in particular. And I'm kind of a sucker for rose, so I thought that would be a good one. So today we're gonna draw along. I guess, unless you guys come up with a better name for this, we'll just keep calling it the draw along. We're gonna do some roses, kind of back to the Zentangle feel of how to put together flowers in a pattern. Kind of therapeutic and just a lot of fun. So hope you enjoy this, and I can't wait to see what you guys all do. Okay, so like I said, today we're gonna do roses, but we're gonna kind of put them together like we were doing our Zentangle before. So again, I have my 2B pencil and my computer paper, plain computer paper. I have my Sharpie pen. It's a pretty fine tip. It's not too fine, but it's pretty fine. So probably use that to create our black lines as we get drawing. But I wanted to start with, because we're starting not in a circle and starting from the middle and working out, I wanted to go ahead and set myself some foundation guidelines for this one. So I need to predetermine some of the elements that I'm going to use as my repeat and my pattern in this. So of course, since we're doing roses, we'll go ahead and plan out a rose. A Zentangle rose that I kind of really enjoy. Oh, that's a lovely circle. But you'll get the idea. You see, you do your circle and you just start carving into it. Kind of just go around carving into it, making little petals. And then once you get to some place where you're about done, I like to put just a little circle in there just because that's fun. So it's kind of hard to see since that's messy, but once you trace it, it would be it'll look a lot like a rose. So I'm trying to do this with the camera where hopefully you guys can see, so it's making it a little challenging for me. Draw around the camera. I'm probably going to be really loud in it too since I'm sitting right on top of it. I've kind of lost where we were, haven't I? I must have done one from there. It's really hard to see. We might have to slide you guys over just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Or maybe I'll figure this out in a minute. And then if we were to erase it, where's my big eraser? Use this one. And then with some shading, it would look a little bit like a rose. So that's a rose pattern for today. Of course, roses have leaves, so the leaf that I will use today is going to be a pretty simple leaf. Okay, then I really like squiggles, So I'll probably do a fun squiggle somewhere. And we'll probably make it look like a type of greenery that would go with our roses. There, so we'll do something like that. We will need a second flower. I'd like to have the primary flowers, which will be the rose, but then a secondary flower is always nice for in the background. So this one's a fun one. It's a pretty simple flower. You could do a daisy because they're also pretty simple and fun to draw. But we'll do, this one kind of ends up looking a little bit like a carnation. And a lot of times, you know, roses and carnations are together in a bouquet, so. There, so we'll use that flower somewhere in there. And then if we need it, depending on how this goes, we can do another kind of long greenery type of, oh, come on, Stace, get that right. Sorry, guys. That's lovely. Draw these in. And I like to draw them on top of each other. So like now, as you can see, it looks a little messy, but when we come back in with the pen and clean it up, geez, maybe should have had more coffee this morning before I started this. So in case we need something like that, and again, you know, this would be erased, so one would sit over the other, and there could be some shading in these then, and to help them look a little bit more foliage-like. So anyways, those will be the pieces that I will be using to put this together. So I'll just grab a clean piece here. And it is kind of important to know about where you're going to want and what shape you're going to want your final piece to be. I kind of have an idea, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay this in. We'll see how it works. So my design ended up not being very centered. I should have put a rectangle where I wanted the design to be on the paper and then proceeded to place my elements inside of that. I would have had a better idea of the shape I would have ended up with. However, this way did work, so either way you want to do it will work. all trace. The drawing is done and complete. I think it looks awesome. This was actually the way I had drawn it. Can't quite see it that way in the video, but that's okay. So, I mean, obviously this could be put in a frame and hung on the wall all by itself. It's really kind of neat. I did want to say a couple of things. As you noticed, I changed the one element. I thought the other leaves, these ones would have been too swirly. We've got enough swirl going on, so I thought those would just be nice kind of fill without adding too much more distracting swirl in there. I had drawn some circles in here that I thought maybe represented baby's breath, and I may well still go back and put those in. I don't know yet. I'm going to hold off and look at this for a little while and make that decision later. So, so there was that. And then I also wanted to say, you know, when I trace a circle in pen, it's hard to, even though it's not a circle, it's not perfect, it is hard to match that end and to do it all nicely in one go with a pen. So I normally go from a place where I know there's going to be another line that meets the circle, because there's already a break there in that circle shape. And so your eyes won't notice it. I mean, they might. You can see I've gone over a little bit, but it's forgiven if your circle kind of overlaps, or if you pick up and put down your pen where something else is going to meet the circle. It makes it a little bit easier to do. So at this stage, obviously, depending on what you have at home, it would be fun to get out colored pencils or watercolors or, you know, pastels, anything like that, and color it in. It would be fun to leave it. But I did want to show you some simple shading techniques, even just with your 2B pencil. If you like them, great. If not, you know, like I said, this is beautiful the way it is, so it could easily just be considered done. And I thought we'd start with the roses. So shading, you know, depends on where the light's coming from a lot of times, and something like this, obviously, that's not as important as a realistic interpretation of roses. So we can kind of play and have fun doing that, knowing that, you know, where things meet, they're going to be a little bit darker. So we can just start kind of adding in a little bit, just light. You don't have to do, you know, too much to help people understand that there's some three-dimensionality to the shapes. So you can just go into the rose and, you know, add a little bit of shading in the corners. If you had markers, this would be fun to do with markers, even just in the corners, one color. You wouldn't have to do all the colors. I have some gray markers that this would probably be a lot of fun with as well. I had someone in the family suggested that I make a coloring book. So I had thought that maybe I will figure out how to do digital downloads and put some of these out there so that people can download them and use them however they want. I've got Zentangles just sitting in the closet, so be on the lookout for that. I'll try and figure that out. Haven't tried that yet. So you can shade the roses like this. Obviously, you can do a lot more with it. Make them very dimensional. Depends on how much you want to do, how much time you want to spend. I could sit and do this all day. But we'll go on. Leaves are fun. You can follow along their lines with your pencil. Just add some interest to them. You can do this with a ballpoint pen. You can do this with your Sharpie marker if that's what you use to trace an outline. If you've just got pencil, that would look beautiful too if you've just done the drawing in pencil and then shade in pencil. So I'm going to add a little shading here because it goes behind the rose. And just kind of blend it out. Actually, we'll do it all the way since the whole thing goes under the rose, not just the sides of the leaf. This one as well. You kind of get the idea. Okay, same with these. These little guys I usually just do in the corners. Just gives them a little bit more interest and excitement to have something there. This is part of this leaf that's hiding under this rose, so there would be a shadow there. Then it's hiding under that leaf, so it would be all in shadow here. Just all in shadow, it's under that leaf. And then it's under this rose. So this one could be pretty dark in here. I do have a tendency to shade the way the lines are going. You can do opposite. You can do it any way you want. Like I said, it's all personal preference. It's all about making an exciting and dynamic image when you're done. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. I'm going to keep working on this. I will post the final when I'm done. Please don't forget to hashtag May You Create when you finish yours. Put that where you can see it so that we can all see what you've done. I look forward to seeing what you've done. And I guess I'll see you next week at our next draw along. You guys take care. Love you. Bye.